Hello and welcome. In 1796, a German physician called Samuel Hahnemann invented a discipline called homeopathy. It's been around for a long time, but questions around its efficacy continue. Even today, in the battle against coronavirus, there are questions about its efficacy, not just in India, but in many parts of the world. The government of India has now prescribed a set of medicines to be consumed as prophylactics. Now, these medicines are to be taken every day and for 3 days on an empty stomach, and is believed to help fight or prevent a coronavirus infection. Now, how does homeopathy work when it comes to a disease called or disease like coronavirus, and how effective could it be? To discuss this, I'm joined by Dr. Anil Khurana, Deputy Director General at the Central Council for Research Homeopathy. Dr. Khurana, thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you. Welcome.
Right. So, Dr. Khurana, first question, tell us in a few lines, what does homeopathy mean? And secondly, in the context of fighting a disease or an infection like coronavirus?
See, homeopathy, the basic principle of homeopathy is to increase the self-healing powers of the body. And in that manner, these medicines, they work in a holistic way. And the main concept behind this is that the law of similarity, where it is in homeopathic philosophy, we have validated it on experimental level in the laboratory model also, that if you treat a person on a similarity basis, means the person who is suffering from some symptoms, and there's a medicine who is able to produce those symptoms, then that will mitigate that person with those symptoms. That is what is the basic hypothesis is about homeopathy. And we have done in vitro models in creating these kind of experiments where we have, like I can give you a small example.
Sure.
We exposed some cell lines to the high heat stress, and the medicine which produces similar kind of a pathological format, where those medicines, they produce similar kind of a pathological changes into the cell lines because of that heat. So we subjected those cell lines with the same medicine, and we could see that those cell lines, they survived when they were pre-treated with these homeopathic medicines. So there's a prophylactic effect of these medicines in vitro model. So this also refutes that homeopathy has a placebo effect. We have appropriate controls which we have kept at every place. When we talk of human body, in vivo, it's a little more sensitive area where there are a lot of interactions between cellular mechanisms are there. There are molecular mechanisms, there are genetic mechanisms, there are immunological factors everywhere. So when we talk of these, that's why in homeopathic medicine, they actually enhance the basic innate immunity. We do not expect homeopathy to create a kind of a acquired immunity as vaccines do. Vaccines create a specific antibody against a particular virus. That's why they are working against that virus. But homeopathic medicine, because they are not antigenic, a herbal medicine will not produce antibody against a virus, but it will enhance the cellular immunity at the basic level. So the medicine which arsenic album, which has been now given as a prophylactic for this corona, we have seen in experimental models and previously reported at many places that it has increased the cellular immunity level. So those are those factors. So we see.
Right. Doctor, do we know specifically that this, let's say the enhanced cellular capability is sufficient to fight a virus like COVID-19?
See, the first line of defense in like corona, how the first line is macrophages. These are the first line of defense in the cellular immunity. So they, or the T cells or the B lymphocytes, these are some of the cells. Say engulf the virus, they kill them. So if we increase the cellular immunity, means if you can increase the level of these cells, as we have seen in HIV disease also. We did a lot of work on HIV in last 23 years. And we have seen the CD4 count has increased because of homeopathic medicine. We have some such examples with us, the people who have survived more than 15, even 16 years with homeopathic medicine, although the number is very less. But even then with homeopathic medicine, they could maintain a good CD4 level, so they could fight out the HIV infection. Similar way mechanism we are expecting in corona, that if we increase the cellular immunity, the body will be less susceptible to catch infection.
Right. So you're saying that, therefore, let's say the progression of the disease as we know it, now, of course, the symptoms are expanding, but let's say the early symptoms about progressing through the respiratory tract, attacking the lungs, and then disabling the lungs. So that is something these medicines are not specifically designed to counter.
Yeah, because see, our medicines also has some kind of an organ affinity. So there are many medicines who has a special affinity for a particular organ. So like this arsenic which you are talking about, it has a special affinity for respiratory system. So it is a potential drug in homeopathy for asthma, chronic obstructive lung disease, acute bronchitis, even chronic bronchitis. For influenza-like illness, we have been giving it as a prophylactic since many seasons in some of the areas. We have collected data also that the incidence of new infections are coming down among the people who have got this medicine over a period of years at the change of season. So our homeopathic medicine will be having a specific kind. It can also generate specific immunity because of its propensity to act on a particular organ.
Right. So you mentioned chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. Now that obviously concerns the lung. Now, you have any data about how it has worked in the case of COPD and its efficacy on COPD patients?
Basically, see, the people who suffer from COPD, they are mostly chronic smokers, and they are working in some kind of a pollutants area. So these are the people who got suffer. They develop some kind of a tissue changes in their body, and they accumulate toxins in the body also. And one of the aspect of homeopathy is that these homeopathic medicine, when they enhance the self-healing powers, the body itself goes into detoxification stage. They throw out the toxins from the body. Like in West Bengal, we did an experiment on arsenic toxicity. The arsenic level is very high in certain pockets of the country. So West Bengal is one of that area. So the level of arsenic was very high. When we gave this potentized arsenic to them, the level of arsenic in the bodies, they had gone down. So they were less susceptible to those kind of changes into the body because of those toxicities. So these toxins which they come up maybe because of infection, as we are seeing in corona, what happens? It is the main pathology is coming because of cytokine storm. This cytokine storm is actually damaging the lungs. So our medicines will detoxify. They will remove those toxins from the body, and so the self-healing comes up faster.
Right. So, but are there preconditions for this? I mean, for instance, let's say in some patients it may work and other patients it may not work, which of course extends to general immunity, because as we know, 85% of patients maybe nothing happens in any case, or there will be, let's say, mild fever or flu symptoms.
So that's why we have started our trials because in early stage we were not having an access to these corona patients because of this all being treated at COVID care treatment centers identified with the Government of India. Because of notification issued by Ministry of Ayush, we have approached the higher authorities in the Ministry of Health at the state level. So now at some places we are given access to those patients for clinical trials using homeopathy as adjuvant. We are not going standalone right now, but as adjuvant. So the population which is hospitalized means who have already gone into a stage of symptomatic stage, they need hospital care. So we are adding homeopathic medicine to them. So we will be seeing that adding homeopathy, whether the recovery comes faster or there's a less mortality, there are low complications. That is what we are expecting. So this has been.
How many patients do you have under trial right now?
We just started yesterday only.
Okay.
And in the 2 hospitals. As the number grows, we will getting more access to those patients. Because only 3 days back we got these approvals from their ethical committees, from their hospitals authorities and everything. All those procedures which are required for a clinical trial, even CTRA registration. All those mandatory things we have completed now. Now we are going to register patients from, I think, today or tomorrow onwards.
Right. And obviously these are patients who volunteer for this, or do they not have a choice?
Without written informed consent, we do not enroll any patient.
Right.
The patient has to be willing.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to come to the composition of these medicines in a moment, but we've also been hearing about how some of the European countries, and I started out by saying that this was obviously introduced in Germany many centuries ago. Spain is thinking of banning homeopathy. Other European countries are not looking at this very seriously right now. So why is there a disconnect?
See, in Western side, in the Western countries, there has been a little bit opposition regarding homeopathy. The main reason being they could not find any detectable particle in homeopathic medicine. That is the main reason. It is highly ultra diluted. That is the main controversy behind this homeopathic medicine. Otherwise, if we go for biological effects and activities in animal models, cell lines, we have sufficient evidence that homeopathic medicine works, and it's not a placebo effect. That is for certain. But the only question is how it works and what is there in the medicine which is working. Because we have done one experiment with IIT Mumbai in Mumbai, and they have now come out with an evidence that even in higher potencies, the original particles are retained because of this is potentization process. This has been published internationally also, and we are now further validating what kind of these particles are, how they behave into the solution, and when they are dissociated from the original molecules, whether it is an ionic response, all those basic part of those homeopathic medicines. We are working with IIT Mumbai on this next stage of our, but they did with metals because they can't be dissolved, they can't be evaporated. So they have done this experiment with metals in potentized form, even in 200 dilutions. 200 dilution is 100 raised to power minus 200. It is that much high dilution, and Avogadro limit is only 10 raised to power minus 23. So we are way beyond the Avogadro limit. Still, right. Some particles are still there. So they have hypothesized that this is some kind of a bubbles theory, and they're still working on how to explain this thing in a scientific platform. So these are the controversies in the Western side. That's why European countries and other parts on the American continent, they are little skeptic about this. But still, many researchers in the Western side, even some Nobel laureates, have come in front to explain these parts in homeopathy. You might be knowing about Dr. Luc Montagnier, who has been the inventor, who was the Nobel laureate for HIV virus. He also started doing something on this homeopathic model. He did not specify exactly homeopathy. The experiment was on a homeopathic model, where he has diluted DNA of a bacteria to such a level, but still right. DNA was acting. That is what those experiments are being taken up.
Right. Okay. So let me come to the medicine itself. So, for instance, Arsenicum album 30. Now, we know about allopathic drugs and the conditions they're manufactured in. They are FDA approvals. There are good manufacturing practices and so on. Tell us about what environment are these drugs manufactured? Where do their inputs come from? What is the quality control that is maintained, and by whom?
See, the manufacturing of homeopathic is very well regulated in India, and India is now becoming one of the exporter of homeopathic medicine to other countries, and it is because of that the GMP is strongly enforced, good manufacturing practices, and it is under Drugs and Cosmetic Act. So every manufacturing unit has to get this GMP certification from the government of India. Only then they can manufacture homeopathic medicines. There has been some concern about a raw material actually, especially the plants, because in homeopathy 70% of the plants are of European origin. So because of this Biodiversity Act which comes in between, there was difficulty in procuring these raw materials from the Western side. But the government of India, the Commerce Ministry, has eased out some relaxation to import those raw materials from there, and that's why they are able to get proper raw material in India. And this arsenic album is simply a chemical, arsenic trioxide, and it's quite commonly available in country. It's not an issue. And we have homeopathic pharmacopoeia of India, which has more than 1,111 monographs of drugs, which are laid down in. There are standards laid down in this homeopathic pharmacopoeia of India. Two biggest pharmacopoeia in the world is one is HP US, Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia United States, which is a little bigger than us. They have 1,300 some medicines. In India, we have 1,111 medicines. And in totality, if we combine these two pharmacopoeias, we have monographs of more than 1600 medicines. So there's no questions on the quality of homeopathic medicines. Technology is highly advanced right now. They are using there's a Pharmacopoeia Commission of Indian Medicine and Homeopathy who regulates this. There's a Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Committee. I am the member secretary of that Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Committee. So, we are, there are drug testing labs available at different state level, at the center level. There's a Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia laboratory available in, and now another aspect which has now emerged lately in last 3-4 years is pharmacovigilance. If there is a spurious drug coming into the market and there is some kind of a reaction there among the patient, they are being reported at appropriate levels. So drug testing labs are picking up those samples from the market, why they are causing some kind of a reaction. So all these steps are being taken up to regulate this quality of homeopathic medicine.
Right. So, you must have perhaps seen this. Industrialist Rajiv Bajaj of Bajaj Auto made a public appeal for use of homeopathy. He also said that to not use Arsenicum album 30 and use another medicine called Camphor 1M because he felt that was more effective. So, how do you weigh in on this?
Actually, this Arsenic album 30 was recommended by our Scientific Advisory Board of Central Council for Research in Homeopathy. There's a group of experts available with us, and when Ministry asked us, per chance our meeting was going on at that point of time. So we analyzed this whole information which was available on the net in one of the Lancet journal which was published, the symptomatology which was reported from Wuhan city. That symptomatology was available with us from that Lancet journal. So that formed the basis of identifying a medicine. In homeopathy, there's a concept called genus epidemicus. How we declare this medicine as a prophylactic for that particular, which will enhance the immunity. And that method is called when we analyze the symptomatology in the community who are getting affected. When this call was made to us to tell us what is the prophylactic medicine from homeopathic side, at that time India was not getting many cases at that time. We do not had access. We have a few cases only, but we had a lot of data available from the Wuhan city, and we have connections with different homeopathic medicine associations. Like one in there's a LMHI which is called Liga Medicamentorum Homeopathic International. It is International Homeopathic Medical League, which has their branch in Hong Kong also. So there are homeopathic doctor associated with that. So we also asked them, you give your inputs, because they have also seen some, as per homeopathic way, symptoms. So we collected all these symptoms. On the basis of that, the medicine which covers the totality of symptom, means which covers the maximum symptoms, that is the genus epidemicus.
So that is the this Camphor 1M you're saying is not as exhaustive as Arsenicum, and
the reason being camphor, the camphor with Dr. Sankaran advised to Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, because Dr. Sankaran is working in a Prana hospital run by this Mr. Rajiv Bajaj. He actually treated few cases in Iran. He himself did not treat. He suggested medicine to some doctor in Iran. And actually those were the cases who actually were suffering and they were hospitalized. They were also taking antiviral drugs also at that point of time. And I've seen those case records. There's no denying that camphor might have helped them, because I cannot right now conclude with only 8 or 11 cases that the medicine has worked. We have to have a big sample size, and there should be a control group other side. So they did this, and in few cases camphor works there where there's a presentation of diarrhea actually with great amount of weakness. So in this community, not many patients are reporting with diarrhea. Most of the patients, they were reporting with upper respiratory tract infection. So there was a fever, there's a dry cough, and there's a breathlessness. This was the presentation at earlier stage. Now the trend is changing. Most of the people are even coming asymptomatic with mild symptoms. So the trend is changing. But the patients who are going into complications, they are going all these set of symptoms. Even they are going for respiratory distress. So camphor do have a affinity for gastric mucosa, because it is called gastric flu, so cause diarrhea also. So at this point of time, camphor can be one of for treatment, but not for prophylaxis.
Understood. Dr. Khurana, thank you very much for taking time off and walking us through the homeopathy as a broader discipline and its abilities in fighting coronavirus. Thank you very much, and I wish you and your team all the best.
I can just conclude one line from my side.
Yes, please.
Small success stories have started building up. You might have heard about the one video of Principal Secretary Health from Gujarat. This arsenic was given to 1,600 quarantine people who had come into positive with a COVID positive person, and they found none of them got infected with HIV, this coronavirus. So these small stories are building up now, but we have to collect data on a scientific platform. So that's why we have started proper clinical trials in 3 types of studies. One is asymptomatic positive patients. Then people who are in quarantine zone, means who have come into touch, but they are likely to get there at high risk developing. And third is this adjuvant, who have already suffered and hospitalized. So this is how we are moving. Hope so we may come out some kind of encouraging results.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Khurana, for speaking to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.